Hey everyone, what's going on? It's your boy, Honor, your favorite YouTuber ever, clearly. For this week's upload, we're not going to be doing anything big, no big numbers, no super fancy editing, nothing like that. This week we're going to be doing just a sit back, a relax, and talk about some scrapped projects, some canceled videos, and we're just going to, gonna go through the, just going to look through what we're going to talk about canceled projects, delayed projects, and projects that are probably never going to happen ever, unless you guys really want to. So let's start with back during the summer of this year, 2020. I had a couple ideas for new series bouncing around, and one of them was called The Slasher's Guide. It was going to be my take on famous, real life, fictional, urban legend horror characters. Jeff the Killer, creepypastas like him, Freddy Krueger, movie guys, real life killers like Albert Fish, or the Axeman from New Orleans. I was even at one point going to touch on Siren Head. He was actually going to be the first. He was going to be the first character covered in this series, simply because he was one of the newest. He had, as far as I knew, the least amount of background knowledge for me to look up, so he's going to be an easy creature to start with. And then once every month, on the last day of each month, we were going to have another upload talking about a different character. But obviously, since there's no video like that on the channel, clearly those videos never really came through fruition. Most of the research was done for Siren Head, and Mothman actually his research started as well, but as you can see, those videos didn't really come through fruition. But if you would like to see them happen, comment down below. The same applies to all these videos and series we're going to talk about today. If you want some more ideas, Wendigo was going to be covered, the Axeman, Siren Head, Slenderman was going to be touched on at one point. I don't remember what. Hang on. We were going to talk about the Colonial Parkway murders. That was a series of, I believe it was 8 murders on a highway. We were going to talk about the Rake. We were going to talk about, I think I said Freddy Krueger already, but we were going to talk about a bunch of. There was a Japanese legend I was going to talk on, the Gashadakuru. It's like a giant skeleton creature. So I had a lot of plans for it, but none of it really came through since I just sort of got busier. I also sort of hit a. I'm not depressed, but I sort of took a depression, and I haven't really been motivated since like summer, but. Obviously, since there's still videos, I haven't killed myself, so that's pretty good, I think. Other than the Slasher's Guide, there's going to be a series similar to the duology of the Dumbass Challenge, if you remember that from back in 2018. It was going to be called The Boys Set, and it was going to be a weekly, bi-weekly series where me and a couple of my friends would talk about famous conspiracy theories like the JFK assassination. We were going to talk about favorite Thanksgiving foods during November, obviously. We were going to talk about creepy creatures during October, but that didn't happen. We were going to talk about the realisticness of ghosts. We were going to talk about apex predators. We are going to do a bunch of stuff. It was going to be a lot of fun, but of course that too didn't come through fruition. It was a lot harder to cover than Bloody the Slasher's Guide was, because it required other people, it required cameras, audio, lights, and all that, and so it was harder to get done than just the Slasher's Guide, which was just going to be me rambling into a microphone for half an hour, 40 minutes, and then cutting that down to 15 to 20 minutes. But of course I could do it at some point, excuse me, if I ever really came down to it, but as of right now, it's not going to happen. Similarly, there was going to be a sort of Blair Witch found footage sort of style series where me and John and a couple other of my friends who you've seen in previous videos, we're going to do a sort of documentary series called Capturing Cryptids or Catching Cryptids, where we talk about famous cryptids, Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster, Mothman, newer things like the Rake or Siren Head, and the twist was going to be that they were not necessarily monsters, just misunderstood people. Like Siren Head is in the woods, but when we eventually find him, he's just a really tall guy who's selling like log houses. The Rake is not a creature, he's just a guy on crack who's like really skinny and kills people to get money for crack. That was going to be sort of the thing. But obviously that was going to be much higher production than any of the previously mentioned series. So that one is likely to never happen unless I really get my shit together and become motivated to do things again. So, but you know, we'll see. You guys let me know what you want down below. And finally, when it comes to... Alright, so now we're going to talk about some one-off videos that just didn't really come through fruition, or were canceled, or were postponed. If you guys remember back in 2015, 2016, maybe even early 2018, I had a sort of death battle-based inspired series called Fiction Collision. And originally I did a shorter 3-minute video with Deadpool and Jason, but then I updated it where I did it properly. I think it's a 14-ish minute long video. I do much more research. I scripted it. It was a lot higher quality, and that one also did very well. People still comment on that video, so it's nice to see. And originally there was plans to do several episodes for that. I don't have thumbnails for those, but I was originally going to do things like Leatherface versus Ash, which I am actually working on revamping right now, just because I've had more motivation to do something about it. I was going to do things like Terminator versus Sector. That was hinted at in the post-credit scenes, quote-unquote, of that video. So, that was a whole thing that I had underway that just never really came through, since they were going to become more and more researched and intense and better, but of course they really just came to fruition for a number of reasons. There was going to be a who is / what is Slenderman video that I fully wrote out. I think it's like 5 or 6 pages long, that goes into the real life and the lore history of the Slenderman and all the things that he has going on. But of course that didn't really happen, and after I finished that, a sort of parallel video for Jeff the Killer was going to come out, and based on how well those two did, I would have continued it. Back in the winter of 2018, there was going to be a How Strong is the Grinch video, just because it was Christmas, and I think that video is still fully scripted, not recorded, but as far as I know, it's mostly written out of all of them. Additionally, if you remember earlier this summer, during the Summer of Steven, which I named it, there was going to be more characters covered than what we ended up getting. I was gonna do Amethyst, I was gonna do Pearl, I was gonna try to get everyone that mattered in a box, and then I was gonna be completely done with the series. Some of those characters were just sort of scratched, just simply for scheduling sake. I didn't want to run Summer of Steven longer than it should have been. In particular, Garnet was going to get an update video, since she was the first ever How Strong Is episode I ever did, but that one just didn't come through, since I figured it didn't really matter, since Steven, both Pink Form and Corrupted Steven, were leagues stronger than Garnet was ever going to be. Right now, in November, at some point, I don't know the exact date, there's going to be a director's cut release of Rocky IV to celebrate its 35th anniversary. I think it's the 35th anniversary. And to celebrate that, I had started working on a video where I analyzed Tyson Fury, my favorite real-life boxer, and Rocky Balboa, my favorite movie boxer, to see between the two of them who would win in a fight if they actually met. But that one just sort of fell by the wayside. I'm still willing to do it. It might not come out on time to match up with the Rocky re-release, but I think it's still something I would like to do at some point. So if there's one last thing I'm going to talk about today, it's the Dumbest Challenge, which I talked about at the start of the video. For those who don't know, it was a duology I did back in 2018. The first video had me and a couple friends smacking each other with eggs, and the second video had me and my friends again smacking each other with whipped cream. A third video was shot in the summer of 2019, sometime in June, where females were involved. It was a female-based episode, but it just didn't have the same sting as the first two. You know, no one got smacked, and of course I wouldn't want to smack women. That's a terrible thing, don't do that. But I am currently a re-edit, a remake if you will, of the original one is starting production sometime later this month, because I am right now in the works of also doing a proper third one, where we're bringing back the guys, we're bringing back the eggs, we're bringing back the whipped cream, you know, some shovels, maybe an axe or something. I don't know. We're gonna find out. But that's about it. So thanks, of course, for coming by today. Thanks for watching. I will see you guys next week. Next week hopefully should be another episode of the creepy reading series. And if memory serves correct, that is going to be about, where is it? Yeah, next week's video should be a creepy reading about the Rake. So that's going to be a lot of fun. But until then, I'll see you guys then. If you want to support me, there's a link to the Patreon in the description below. If you want to see more content, like and subscribe. And if any of these videos or series sounded interesting to you and you want to see them come to fruition, also put that in the comments below, because I'd be more than happy to find some fight in me again to maybe give those videos another crack. But until then, I will see you guys. I'll see you guys later.